Hello everybody. So I can see that we've got a lot of people again in our audience. Salam alaikum from Morocco. I think that you say mashallah to that. So hello to you too. Swati, it's so nice to see you. Nicoletta, Sylvia, Oguzan. Oh my god, so many of my students. So I'm so happy. So hello Iman, hello everybody. Guys, my name is Mike and welcome to our next stream. So for those of you that are joining us for the first time, my name is Mike and I'm a teacher for VizAcademy. VizAcademy is an online school that will teach you how to prepare beautiful visualizations in less than 7 weeks. I'm fine, thank you, but I need to do the small promo of our school because right now besides just being awesome, our school now also teaches how to do the animation. Those are now going to be in the form of multiple videos, and as I said, our previous attendees that were already in the part where we had the VizAcademy animation training course will also receive those because I'm having a bit of a blast because we're having a very short break from webinars. But at the same time, now is your time to sign up to our training because this is going to be the last July let's say July batch that's going to be at this price point, and since then now on we're going to have a bit different pricing, and you know, things are getting more expensive also to operate. So it would be nice to see you in our class. Hello everybody, Sivya Vakanam from Tamidanu, India. Nice, thank you. BR, okay, we're finally reaching Brazil again, so I am so happy. So guys, available dates for you, animation, interiors, exteriors, 7 weeks training with added support from Ula, Alexandra, and our amazing Javier. All three of them are amazing professionals, plus you get instant access to me. And I also help my students a lot. And right now, we're going to be talking about this scene created by Paulina. And Paulina Kuśnierz has created this scene let's say a while ago, and we're going to be trying to recreate it today in 3ds Max. We're going to be mostly focusing on the scatters and making sure that those look good. So we're also going to be setting up our background and what we're going to be seeing in the camera. Most of the webinar is going to be done with material override, but the second part is going to be without it. So we're going to see more. So I hope that you understand that today we're going to be rendering from 0 to hero, not just modeling from 0 to hero, because let's say we already modeled everything, like we did everything. But I'm also super excited to announce that we're going to be doing more content for you because finally, and guys, everybody in the chat, I would like you to let's say thank and congratulate everybody who signed up as our member, because we finally reached our goal where we can now do more content thanks to your support. So guys, I'm truly happy about that, and we're going to be focusing on YouTube a bit more because it's finally something good. And Clarence, hey, how are you? Nice. Okay, let's get into it because I get a lot of comments that I talk too much and clickety-click too little. So I'm going to listen this time and we're going to try to do everything from scratch. But I'm also going to try to go through those most, let's say, needed elements of this modeling. Let's see. First of all, we're not going to be starting with this already finished work because obviously it's finished, but we're going to salvage a couple of pointers from it to make sure that we can actually work with this. Plus, everybody who has become our member, which I highly appreciate. You cannot even imagine how much this helps. Guys, thank you very much. In the post section, we're going to be giving you guys access to all of the scenes and CAD files, and members will be getting the finished scene, and all the rest of you guys will also get something which is going to be a little bit less, but this is going to be pretty much the starting point for our scene without the furniture, so you will also be able to go through it. Hello, sir. I have i3 12400F processor and our RTX 6GB graphic. With which one should upgrade, CPU or which CPU or GPU? So which one GPU? Please reply, sir. The budget friendly. So Mocht, in that case, I would, if you're serious about rendering with Corona, always go for something that we call processor. So CPU is the one you want to go for. The best way you can determine which is going to be the wait a second, this is supposed to be the benchmark. Corona benchmark, please. Corona benchmark more? Yeah. So here we go. We've got the benchmark website and Corona. This is on Corona 10, but this is just the updated version. So this doesn't matter. And in this case, we're not going to be really going into advanced. Just type in your processor's name. So this is it. And it's going to tell you how fast it is. And to be honest, from what I see on the benchmarks, this is not a bad processor. 2 million is the point where you kind of want to upgrade, but anything above the 2 million is great. Currently, the most budget friendly and I would say the best option for pretty much everybody is going to be the AMD 9950X, but without the 3D. Yes, 3D is slightly faster, but it's also not reliably faster. It's not going to be that much faster, and in reality just the version without the X is really going to be comparable, and off the bat you're going to be you should be expecting something closer to 14-15 million points when you come up with your own PC build, but this is the best budget friendly option right now, and I would say it's all going to depend how friendly is your budget, but anything below that is still good. So search through the processors, and that's going to be the best way you can do it, because really 4 million points is amazing. 16 is like twice as fast as this one, which I'm doing the webinar right now, and this is the hardware I purchased myself, like literally right now. So I'm going to be moving from computer to computer, and now let's go to the webinar itself, because today we're going to be talking about everything. Oh my God, the chat is going on. Still, I'm from Brazil. Congratulations on your content. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad that you guys joined. Now, hi Mike. Right now, I can't become a YouTube member because I am not a feature in my country. Is there like a Patreon or something like that I can sub to gain access to some of the content? Lazo? You literally, I was about to, let's say a little bit more about this, but guys, we're 10 minutes into the webinar and I haven't clicked once in 3ds Max. So let's hold on to the questions. Please ask them. I will get to them in like 10 minutes or 15, and I will answer all of them. But since I already read that, let's answer it. Yes, we will be creating a Patreon, and we will be creating some sort of way for you to gain access to all of our content that's well behind the member section on YouTube, because obviously YouTube does restrict a lot of regions, and I cannot say it's good for the business. So the best thing for the business is you guys liking our video. So if you could do that, I would be absolutely obliged. So please make sure to leave a couple of likes and subscribe to our channel if you're new. Now let's go ahead and continue, because clicks. Okay, so guys, as I said, we're going to be working with the scene, but a little bit, let's say, handicapped version. So what I did here is I mainly deleted everything that was scatter and scatter alike, so we can work with that. And the first step we're going to take into the awesomeness of our scene is, well, we're going to be creating a sun, and we're also going to be creating some kind of environment, because since we already have everything, and you're going to get in the mindset of somebody who's going to be doing this professionally. So time is money, and since your client already gave you a building which is very bare bones, it has no materials whatsoever, you're going to be setting up yourself for the appropriate amount of shots that the client needs, what type of shots they need, and you need to go over all of that. So the first thing you're going to be doing is basically getting to this point where everything is in the scene. It has a little bit of lighting, but you haven't yet fiddled with most of the materials. And remember, whenever you send something to your client, make sure that it's high quality, because recently I had a very funny story I have a very funny story to tell about my friend, professional friend that works in 3ds Max for at least 8 or to 10 years, and he was sending some of his pre-renders to one of his clients, and at that point the client was constantly saying, hey, I don't like the quality, your wood looks too plastic, I don't see the detail. And the genius he said, hey, you know what, those are pre-renders. The quality is lower right now, but it's going to get higher once you accept this. Would you do that? I wouldn't. I would never accept such a statement. In a sense, I might be ugly now, but when you wake up next to me tomorrow, I'm gonna be a beauty. That's just really, really, really weird comparison, I know, but that's really a bad idea to communicate your project to the client. So the first thing we're going to be doing is obviously setting up our camera. Since in this case it's already there, we're now going to be limiting ourselves to the view at hand. So the view at hand is going to be limited by the ground. So the first thing you would be doing is making sure that you work only with a parameter that your camera actually can see. So let's select what we're interested in, and well, in this case I don't need to delete anything because it's not a big parameter. But remember that if the camera would be much narrower, we would be deleting a bunch of polygons off of our scenes. So it is a good idea to keep in mind that, well, we need to optimize at the very start of our journey with any scene, because without it, it's just going to be a big cluster. Now let's set up our environment. Because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of setting up everything, we're just going to go to material override, add a physical material override, and preserve just the glass, because the glass in the building and the lighting is going to play a major role for the scene itself. Without any sort of lighting added to the scene, you can see that it actually looks kind of nice. And even if we go for the absolute default setting, 0 in simple exposure, it kind of looks nice. So we need to make sure that it doesn't overexpose, it has the ACOT on, and just so that it's a nice night shot, we're also going to be clamping some of the lights so that we can see the white areas, but not really get into the, again, nitty-gritty of details. So we're just going to go ahead and add one additional element, which is Reinhardt highlight compression, and we're going to be very delicate, because here I'm going to be setting up the simple exposure to set to be 2. Now you can see that there's a vast amount of pixels that are almost getting hi Łukasz, thank you for joining. Nice. Wow. I had to react, sorry. Now let's continue. Here I want to make sure that my lighting, since again it was pre-set up, you're going to get that. We're going to just go ahead and add a little bit of the clamping. Why do we do the clamping? Because I don't want the light to be too bloomy, and I don't want this light to be too warm. I want this to be just, you know, welcoming. Now we need to set up our environment. In most of the cases, HDRIs are just the best, but I do understand that not everybody is going to have instant access to some popular websites with HDRIs, and we don't need to rely on them as much as we did a couple of years ago. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add the simplest possible environment, which is going to be just our Corona sky. So this is crucial for the setup, and I'm going to change some of the setup later on, because that's a bit much, right? So what do we do now? We could go to -2, -3 and start working from there, which is essentially going to make it look nice, but nice is not exactly what we're going for in this case. We need a nice night mood. So again, I'm going to need to supplement myself with additional help, and that additional help is just going to be brought to you by Corona sun. So we're going to be not necessarily relying on the sun that much. So in my case, I'm just going to make sure that the auto grid is here. Okay, missed the sun. So in my case, I'm just going to delete that, and let's see how you react. Perfect. Now, I want the sun to be at a very shallow angle on one of the sides of the building, but also slightly behind. So not too high, not too far, just a regular sunset scenario. And this is going to be a very important change to this, because we're instantly getting to the mood. And the idea and reason why we're adding that sun on the left is this. That reflection is going to be very important for us. Again, we're just getting started, and those are the elements we're going to be thinking about at the very start. So the lower the sun is going to be, the more exposure we can adjust or add, but not all exposure is going to be fine, or not every part of the exposure is needed to be added. So let's go for sun on 0 horizon. How does this look like, right? Okay. So we're getting to the point where I'm actually loving it. And this is giving me a really nice vibes when it comes to this building and overall quality of the shot that I'm aiming at. So we're just going to be going for additional -5. Okay, let's go for -150 in my case. I am eyeballing this a little bit, so we're definitely going to be going back and forth with some of the values. I don't want to give you some sort of immediate idea. You should be setting up this exact angle, because I don't work that way. I try to set up my scene so it looks good. Once it does, I'm just going to go, let's go back. I'm going to just set up something that looks good, and then I continue. So at this point, we're pretty much we're there. So maybe +1 exposure, so we get back to the overexposure on the edges, and we're going to start with the most important elements so far. Okay, let's quickly get into the chat. Hi Savan, nice. Aaron, thank you. I'm really good and really glad to have you here. So okay, so where were we? Hi Mike, thank you for making these videos. It helps a lot. Thank you, Storyteller 3.0. Hi, we'll make you make videos like this with V-Ray? We might. Now, I use V-Ray, and I want to switch to Corona Render. Is it difficult to switch? Daniel, you're just in for a treat. No, it's super easy, and I told this story a couple of times, but Corona was created as a direct competitor to V-Ray, and it's easier, better, and faster program compared to V-Ray. Yes, V-Ray has plenty of additional hoops and loops that you can optimize and spend eons on to make the render slightly faster and better, but Corona is just easier. It's just it's like comparing, let's say, Unreal Engine to 5D render. D5 render is basically going to be like that. You just work with it, and it's that in Corona. I mean, yes, it still requires a little bit of knowledge, more than regular software, but it's way easier than V-Ray. So yes, switching is super duper easy. I did switch from V-Ray to Corona, and it's a lot easier. Yes, Neha. Hello, teacher. I had a question off topic. Mister, ask away. Cześć. What if the client wants to do many images from various angles for the same price? So, for the same price doesn't exist. Well, your price should be high enough to fill the gaps between, because you are charging per shot, Aaron. So it's not likely that you're going to accept multiple shots from one exterior, unless it's extensively easy to do, then you can kind of go for it. But if it's complicated and you need to prepare each shot, you just need to communicate how much work it is, but not, oh, I'm gonna put people a lot of work. But no, this requires a lot of composing. It's going to cost me a lot of man hours to complete another project like this, so I need to charge you extra for that. There's no additional cost for your client. It's just if a client orders one shot, you don't give them a bonus for free. And if the client says, hey, how about for a good start of our relationship, business relationship, you do some shots for free. You say yes, but now if I do that, you put me on a retainer and you're going to sign a paper where you give me next job within the next few months for this and that amount. And if the client says, no, I'm not signing that, so you're not giving the freebies. That's really how it goes. Perfect. I'll try changing it from V-Ray to Corona. Please do. And visit our website, VizAcademy UK. We will help you with that. And with some knowledge of V-Ray, yeah, you will be good. I wonder if there's any way I can send you my related work. I'd love to hear your advice. Łukasz, yes, there is, either by VizAcademy Instagram or by going to our info@VizAcademy.UK email and send it there. But best bet would be to actually send it next week, where we will be doing a portfolio review or work review. So your work is going to be featured online, so that's going to be even better for you. Thanks for the advice, teacher. Thank you very much, Daniel. Hello, Mike. I'm just wondering, how do you know what lighting mode to use in a scene, or when to use daylight, sunset, dusk, evening lighting? Ivan, that's a good question, and most of the time I will be communicating that with my client. We go through some reference images or images by either me or other artists that my client was drawn to me. Probably my client was drawn to me by my own work, by my own portfolio, the way I market myself. But typically they're going to have a specific type of project that needs a little bit of you in it. So in that case, you're going to be proposing different solutions, showing different moods, just so you can think tank that. And once you go through that process, you set up the cameras, give the options, go through the possible use cases of those images, and then you continue. So which is the best, V-Ray or Corona? Which car is the fastest? Now, in this case, let's go ahead and continue. Chris, definitely, I love Corona more, and that's all I'm going to say, but I cannot badmouth V-Ray because it's not bad. Now, once we're here, we're going to start doing the very first thing, which is adding the trees. We need to compose this shot a little bit better, because you remember that we're supposed to have two trees that are going to be margins for the shot. So the best and easiest way to do it is obviously find something online, because we're definitely not going to be modeling any trees on our own. I may make a video on that, but I am a little bit afraid that video on how to model a tree with so many assets available to us for free is going to be kind of stupid, because at this point, what's the point? I rarely model anything in terms of 3D assets such as bushes and trees. So now let's go ahead and talk about what tree shall we use. So this is a bit of a mountain, so mountain adler sounds really good, but it's very dense tree, and I don't want to use it as it's gonna show too much in front of my camera. And English oak is going to be a good idea, but again, the branches start too low. I don't like the fact that not all the trees have the human equivalent like those maple trees have, which I really like, because this gives you a sense of scale. And now I'm going to be using eucalyptus, because you can lick eucalyptus. No, that was a very bad joke. Sorry, I just don't. Now, here we're in a situation that you are going to get very often into. And here you kind of see that I've downloaded a tree. It's Eucalyptus White Box 001 and Eucalyptus 00 Box 2. Now, okay, one was loaded as a proxy, that's a box, and one is loaded as a full mesh. Now, it is not that I cannot change it, but sometimes you're going to be grouping objects and you're going to be downloading multiple of them, and that gets a little bit annoying, especially that I did add this 3 twice and I didn't notice that because I was already adding that. So my solution for you guys is to go for AutoGrid. First of all, create your own AutoGrid somewhere on the left by holding left Alt and your Control on the left side. Now, once we're here, you can see that there's a new grid, which is going to be my starting point for all of my 3D assets that I download and add, because here you can see this and that. Now, those are added in a place where my assets no longer will be intersecting with the house or in the middle of the scene or on the road. Often you will get into trouble because you were dumb enough to forget about this feature. You've added something, you forgot about it, you've started clicking something, and then you've made it even worse. So in this case, I'm just going to be adding this here. Now, I want both of them to be in the same type of category. So here I'm going to go to scripting, script listener, and we're just going to say this, and let's clear that. Clear this. Now we go to macro recorder, enable, and without any knowledge about programming whatsoever, you're going to be making your own script. So here, you don't even need to save it, but it's going to be a nice method for you to globally change some property in many elements. Yes, just to be absolutely clear, we can also access some of the proxies in here, but that doesn't necessarily strike much confidence in me, because I often get a little bit carried away with this as it's a bit difficult. Now, if I'm going to have one of those elements selected, I'm going to change the full mesh, and now I can see that the preview type, previz type is set to 3. Okay. Turn off the macro recorder, and we're just going to, okay, that's basically it. But if I'm going to go for 2, okay, now previous type 3 and enter, and we've got different types of preview. Imagine that not all objects will be on the lister. Some objects will be imported from CAD software, and you need to change one specific property for all of them, and there's 100 of them. So this is going to work globally for most of the elements that you work with, and I kind of like it, so I would definitely go for that. Now, those 3s out of the way, we're just going to be placing them on the ground. The best way of placing 3s and all the objects on the ground is to use something like this. And this is going to be select and place. And that's it. So I select and place my 3 in the place where I selected my 3, and that looks good. Now we're going to select the other 3, and I'm going to try to do the same. But now I need to grab it and move it forward. Now that looks awful. As far as I can kind of imagine that this 3 looks okay, this one doesn't not. So what do we do here? What we can do is simply grab our rotation locally, and I'm just going to locally putting this up, and maybe I will just pull it down a little bit. Perfect. Now, got it. What else should we be doing to those 3s and all the elements? Now, this is going to take away too much of my screen instantly, so I may decide to move this forward or backward. It doesn't matter at the moment. What matters is that there's too many leaves and we can barely see the sky. And comparing this to Paulina's work, well, and Paulina is our student, so I need to respect her work. We need to make this a little bit better. So the instant and best way of doing it, and especially since I'm working with the same 3 at the moment, is to set up your material the way I did it a little bit earlier. So what you're going to notice is get from selected. Okay, now can you give me of course. Thank you, 3ds Max. This is the exact thing I wanted to that's so good. Now, since 3ds Max decided to do a bit of a let's say hoop-de-loop, that always amazes me. It only happens when I'm online. Yes, I get the fact that I'm running multiple programs at the same time. I'm streaming and I am clicking a lot with multiple 3ds Max scenes open, but sometimes it could just have some, yeah, classic. Sometimes it could just have a little bit of grace. I'm trying to promote the software after all. Do they have too many clients? Okay. Does your studio hire Blender users? If not, any studio recommendations that I can try? At the moment, we don't hire Blender users, but there's a lot of companies that would hire somebody. But due to the fact that I have a studio that teaches how to do 3ds Max, our studio, which I'm not the only person running, hires people after a training. So we pretty much get, once they're hired, they get the commission for the training back instantly because now they're hired. So that's a bonus for signing up after 3 months of work at our company. So it's not like we order you to pay to work for us. Yeah, and that's it. Now, recovery. Let's go. Chris, can you suggest where I can find good reference for interior and exterior for practice? Chris, I would say that the ICE gave you a really good suggestion, which would be the Pinterest, because honestly, that's it. Then something like Arc Daily or, well, anything that has pictures in it, because, well, pictures are fun. Now let's save this as number 2 and let's continue. Okay, now we're back where we were, and with this 3, I'm just going to go ahead and grab my material, if 3ds Max is going to be nice enough to allow me. So since those are 2 eucalyptus 3, and now I'm going to just analyze what does this material consist of. I spoke to the biggest brain in Corona team, which is Tom, and Tom said that they cannot do much about materials and how they look like at the moment because of how the Chaos Cosmos was built. It was built with, let's say, different software in mind, and then it just grew, and it growing didn't necessarily allow for a lot of leeway. So if you're now, what I'm saying is that I got into, let's say, I am at peace with the way the materials look like, but I'm going to show you a quick way of how to fix most of the materials that you download off the internet, especially if they're from Chaos Cosmos, because all of that was junk. And now we're back to square one. So now without the extra junk, which I think is not necessary, because it rarely gives me any good effect, and really it's just a huge waste of time. So I know it's like well, a little bit blunt, but I do think it's a little bit redundant that way. So now translucency color is going to be, we're going to be thinking about this tree this way. This is our base map for the leaf. This is the main color that we're going to be setting up. This is the translucency. Typically, we made the translucency a little bit brighter and just a bit more saturated or more yellowy if we want to make it look good. So something around 10. In this case, it's going to make it more reddish. So -5, -10 is going to make it more yellowy. That's all we need in this case. Hey, Robert, nice to see you. Now here we have our setup, and if now I'm going to change something about this main leaf, for any reason I might need a blue leaf. If I need it, the changes follow, and that's really important. The base bump for most of the trees is just unnecessary, so I'm not going to be working with that. But what is necessary for me in this case is to go to bitmap, and in here we're going to go to Corona multi-map, and I'm just going to set up this one map. You might remember this setup from one of our videos on trees, but I'm just going to simplify it a little bit so I can determine how many leaves my tree is going to have. So basically, either do have it or no. Why do we do it this way? Because again, we're going to be having full we're going to have a full control over how many leaves the tree has, and I can just make this tree less dense. So we want to preserve the opacity, and whenever you're working with your leaf material, make sure that first and foremost you actually keep a little bit of, you know what, thank you very much for this super good setup. I'm just going to default this, advanced options, and let's go for roughness. And we're just going to we're going to be rough. 0.4, 0.3, thin, translucency somewhere around 25 to 50, but typically something like 0.3 works for most of the trees. Now we're not even going to be seeing the translucency, but thanks to the fact that I've made sure that the opacity is going to be used with clip, we're going to have, or we're not going to have, our leaf. So that's really cool. So excellent trick for less leaves, impressive. Thank you. So now we should be seeing our option to basically delete some of the density of our leaves. So if I change the frequency to 0.2, I'm going to have almost dead trees in my scene, which doesn't necessarily scream bad, because this is the type of scene that will need that in front of my camera. So I would say, job done, and we can continue. I will probably change the settings and fiddle with the elements a little bit more, but that's the idea behind it. Now, since we're on the topic, we also need another tree line that's going to be behind our scene. So typically when I start working, I'm going to be again planning what I'm going to be doing, because I will have some sort of nice references, and I'm going to be, before I get to the bigger scattering in my scene, I'm going to think, okay, I'm going to need something like that. I'm going to need additional trees. I'm going to need one tree that's going to be kind of empty, let's call it that way, and a lot of weird grass. So okay, that's actually super easy for me. I remember the first time you explained this trick, I was there. I was there when the Bible was My God, the blasphemy. No, thank you, but wow, that was a lot. Now, having that out of the way, let's talk about the next thing. Since we're going to be planning what we're doing, I'm going to need grass, mid-grass, hedges, bushes, whatever, and trees. So I'm going to not only create that and simply add those elements into my scene from you know where. I'm trying to make those webinars as as beginner friendly as I can. So I'm not going to be jumping into my 10,000 folders where I have trees that look this and that from Max Tree or Evermotion, which was purchased a couple of years ago. What I would like to do here is use only what you guys can use as well. So for example, we're going to need a couple of leaves that will be just scattered all around. And remember the trick we did here. So I'm going to make the grid a little bit smaller. Okay, that looks good. So now we're just going to be adding the leaves from the leaves that are added to our libraries. So here I'm just going to take, let's say that this looks like eucalyptus. Yes. Now plane. Let's go for a plane that's going to be nice and small. So we just delete that. Let's go for 15 by 15. Let's copy this a couple of times, and that should do it. We don't need to do any additional work on those, but we could bend them if we want. Again, if you could be so kind and just add yourself here, add yourself there. Now we're going to you. Thank you. Such a nice software. Okay, and now, yeah, got it. Now I don't need the rest. I'm already bored with it. So we're going to do the first scatter. So the first scatter is going to be the frontal leaves. Why? Because those are the smallest. They will give us the general idea what we're going to be doing. And at the moment, I don't need those trees because those were important, but not as important as they will be. So again, we're going to run the script that we have. Sorry, we're going to listen to our own DJ scripts, and script listener, I'm going to type in whatever we had, and I'm going to change this to previs type 2 so I can see where the trees are, but I don't need to be very worried about it. So here I'm going to go ahead and just create a line that's going to be somewhere in front of my camera. So something like this is going to be good enough for me, because this is the space where I want my leaves to reside, let's say, I call it that way. So here I'm going to go to our creation panel, jump to Chaos Scatter, and remember the times where this was still Corona Scatter? Now, I typically make sure that it's easier for me that it's easier for me to set up everything in such a way that I'm going to have either my scatter, the objects inside of my scatter. So here it's going to just be easier for me to visually understand which part of what is going to be connected together. So here we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to be scattering those elements all over the place. So we want to go to areas, and we want to select the area include, and that's the only inclusion we're going to see tonight. Now we're just going to see how the leaves behave. They look nice, but we could also give them a bit more work. We can try to jazz them up. So in transformations, we're obviously going to be working with scale 50 to 100 or 150, and we can just go for something like -30 to 30, -30 to 30, because those leaves are dirty. So we're definitely not going to be seeing some leaves that are standing upside down, because at the moment it's easier for us to set it this way. Now we can see that the leaves are basically not there. Why aren't they visible? Mostly because those are exactly on the ground, and the pivot is basically making those flat out on the ground, so we won't see them. Those are leaves that are supposed to be on the grass, so we're going to be adding something like 4 to 10 centimeters above the ground option. So at the moment they should be casting a little bit of shadow in this area, but it's not going to be necessarily that ugly. So thank you very much. I did click on region, didn't I? Okay. Are we going to... Okay. I see that my 3ds Max is really trying to wrestle me. So now we've got a couple of leaves here, and that's going to be looking way better once we add the rest. But it's the start, and we don't need to do any kind of area fall off or whatever, because that's a simple area to work with. Now we need to another area that's we're also going to be utilizing something that is new to this let's say to the Corona overall, because well, we now can work with clusters. And clusters, I kind of love them. So I'm going to create a cluster that's going to be, okay, that's an ugly one, that makes sure that I'm going to grow some of the elements around my tree, and this is the bark. So we're just going to go from here, like here, okay, and we're just going to go here, here, here. I don't need this to be big, because again, I'm going to be making sure that since we are planning this ahead, we're going to make sure that everything is going to be nice and easy. Also, a lot of times whenever I have the scatters, I will be adding additional scatters, and I will be calling those gardens. So I will create a rectangle and give that garden a name, because again, this is just the leaves, right? So leaves. Now this should do it. Honestly, I want this to be on this side, so it's going to be more elegant, and the reflections are going to look better once I set everything this way, which is not true. Now, this is just empty space for additional scatters if I need them, and now we're just going to change this to grass. I know you can rename your scatters, but those are, I don't like the font, so grass. Okay, and just for the visual consistency, I like to change this to different color and different tone to understand and have a visual cue what I'm talking about, what I'm seeing, so it's easier for me to see everything. Obviously, I should also change those elements so it's even easier for me to see the specific scatter, and I try to make sure that I actually use those, because in this case, it's so easy to navigate and understand that, okay, those are the leaves. So I don't need to test and guess. Sometimes I also select the area, but that's going to be redundant at this moment. So now let's find a couple of bushes or some kind of grass, because typically you want to start with the most important parts, which is again going to be the grass. And In this case, grass doesn't need to have plenty of settings, so we're just going to go for vegetation, and we're going to look for something small but also good. So this would do, this is going to do, this is going to do. So raygrass 04 and raygrass 03, perfect. Now let's make sure that we don't add them where I don't want them. So okay, scatter, auto grid, Control Alt, and we got it. So perfect. I'm going to be adding those elements exactly where I need them. 1 and 2. Nice, elegant, clean way of working with 3ds Max. I know those are just, well, empty words if we're talking about 3ds Max, but believe me, it's just easier that way. Now you can see that one of them is just 3 patches of grass, one of them is just 1 patch of grass. So nothing special, nothing specific. We basically could just use this one 3 times and we wouldn't be able to notice any difference. And potentially that's exactly what I'm going to do, but let's see how those behave. First, we're going to be adding this here, and again, we're going to be adding 1 and 2. So there's going to be a question in your mind. Why am I not scattering under the house? Because I did a little bit of work prior to this, and I made sure that I cut out something out of my house. So to cut out the area from below my house, all I needed to do is, let's say, work with a plane like this, and once I have some sort of rectangle, circle, or whatever drawn on the object, we can use one of the 3 ways really. So one would be to allow ourselves to use the compound objects and just use the conform option in here, or use the shape merge, which would basically no, this is the shape merge, conform. Now I forgot about the mesh pro cutter part. Okay, shape merge should, okay, now I'm stupid. I'm just going to go for the better method. Okay, instant, editable poly, attach. Okay, and since it's here, I'm just going to shift drag it down, so I don't need to do much explanation, because I forgot whether it's conform or slice on the element, and we would be just slicing. Once we would conform it, we would slice it off. So yeah, basically it. So once you have this cut out, it's easier to set up everything. Hey Asim, nice to see you. Hi Mike, I'm late. Nathaniel, yeah, you kind of are, but we might just take a little bit longer before we move on to the the members section of our tonight's webinar. So for the grass, I'm just going to ensure that I work with one setting, which helps a lot when dealing with your 3ds Max. And this is again one of those situations and scenarios where you kind of want to, once you set up your everything in your scene, you might want to have that macro recorder on, because here, scripting, listener, we don't listen to you. Okay, now we got this and we enable the clipping. So camera clipping enabled on. Perfect. So I can set this up. Now if I go here, I can set it up for both of my cameras, and this is going to be true to all of them. So again, it's just global way of working with multiple objects at the same time without the need of getting into some kind of weird type of scripting. But why do we do it here? Because in this case, once I have my camera, you're going to be able to notice that since that ability is on, and we're going to set a specific camera with our grass, which is important because in many cases this may eat too much of your resources. We're just going to go for the specific camera, the one that we're working with, and now the scatter is going to be self-updating, and it's only going to be following the camera actual field of view. Also extend the view for like 50 centimeters so it's not weird. And now we should also see something cool, which is going to be the grass. But the grass is also going to need an additional setting. What setting is that? Well, obviously the setting is going to be related to the density of our grass, because here those objects are so tiny that we cannot really even see those. I mean, this is a good type of grass, but it's tiny and looks bad. So I'm going to go to scattering, and I'm just going to pretend that I don't know what scaling is. And we're just going to go for 200 to 350 because I don't care. And now we're just going to go ahead and make sure that since those objects are going to be kind of bigger, we're going to be able to see them. And the best way of actually checking if your scatter works is to just use it and check if it's visible at all in the scene itself. At the moment, it's there, but what I like doing is just checking the alpha. Now, one thing I noticed is that the density kind of needs an update. So in this case, we're going to go to the distribution, not areas, nothing else. We're just going to go to distribution. So surface scattering. Thank you. And we don't need clusters in here. Those are unnecessary in this scatter, but we're definitely going to go for per square before we change anything. 10 per square, 10, and we should be probably working with 5 per 20 centimeters or so, but let's allow it to lag a little bit. Now, that looks awful in the alpha as well, but in the beauty, it also looks awful. So if we now check this out with additional exposure, you're going to see that there's so many of those grass patches that it essentially creates this, well, carpet that isn't really looking good at all. So let's make sure that we go lower in here. I mean, none in here, so we see no none of the cleaning up. So okay, we're starting to see some grass actually, so it actually looks good, but there's too many of them. So let's go for 5. The goal here is to allow just a bit of our grass, or let's say a little bit of ground to be visible. Not too much, not too many, but we want some of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that more, bigger values, because here you can actually start seeing some actual grass, and it's starting to look really good. 15 per 5, and remember, we're just going to have a little bit of fun here. Hello, how can I use ACS? And let me know, the colors do not appear vivid and realistic in renders. Good, I'm going to be creating a video on that topic quite soon, so thank you for asking. Now, I can see some of the ground, but I also think that there's a little bit too much of it, so we're going to go for 12.5, because why not? 12 it is. Per 5, and now this should be my ideal setting with this specific grass, because I can still see through and see some very faded patches of land in below. So if I set up something that makes sense below this grass, it is also going to look nice. So just to prove it to you, I'm going to take this element out of my override so we can see small patches of ground here and there, but we shouldn't allow this ground to be exactly the same as color as our ground normally would be, because in this case it's going to all come down to just having those small patches of land in between to just have more believable scene after all. So I'm not counting on having a lot of it, just enough so there's a small patch visible from time to time, and this is going to be our grass setup overall. So we want to, first of all, have good scaling, at least 50% in between. Also, at the moment, we don't need any clusters, but this is going to be good enough carpet like grass. Hi, long time no see, glad to see you again. Banu, thank you. Mike, did you upgrade your setup yet or not? Yes, but I honestly had the wildest thing ever. So my friend purchased a computer that was exactly like mine, because he was like, Mike is getting a new computer. I need to get one myself. And the funny part is that I've not only told him what to buy, he went for the cheapest part possible, which is actually smart, and I'm not ripping on it. It's just he changed every part to exactly the same, but cheaper, which was fine, because overall his system specs were identical. He even purchased my own case, like literally from my cooling literally from me, because I thought, hey, maybe I'm going to upgrade to the bigger one after a while, and he wanted to buy mine. So I was like, okay, fine. But then I not only had to order that for him, I had to build the computer, install the software. Once everything was working, he went home and he boasted how cool his computer is. And he unfortunately decided to install more RAM in it, and he didn't tell me. And once you install more RAM in your computer, it takes by the way, I purchased more just to mess with him. Now, once you do that, you need to wait like 2 or up to 3 minutes, sometimes even 10 if you have a little bit lower grade motherboard. And the funny part is that he didn't know that. He thought that he burned his computer. So I didn't know that either at the moment, that what he did, because he never told me about the RAM. He just said, my computer is ruined. I'm going to put it quickly I'm going to use the insurance, the guarantees, everything. Oh, I'm sending back the parts. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I haven't yet used this computer. You can use mine for a while until the rest of the parts are back. And since the time I told you that I'm going to be upgrading, he's holding to my computer, and I purchased more RAM for mine just to make sure that once mine is back, I'm going to say, yeah, I've upgraded again. And I'm waiting for him to... Oh, by the way, his computer is perfectly fine. He just didn't wait those 10 minutes. And that's gonna be funny once I update mine. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's just something I love. By the way, he's a great guy, but you know, a little bit of friendly banter. So yes, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Anyway, guys, how are you guys? Anything new, anything extraordinary that you would like me to talk about in the 3ds Max world or ArcViz world? Because honestly, I kind of am looking for new topics, and I want to create a long list of topics that you guys might be interested in, and I would love to see that. So now I'm going to create another scatter. This scatter is going to be basically again some shrubs and bushes, but in this case we're going to mostly use the vegetations from shrubs and bushes, so why not? In this case I'm going to be using the European yew, or how do you Yev. So let's go for that. Also that and we're going to be using this because those are nice, fluffy, and they always look nice. Plus I'm going to need one of those let's say longer plants. So those are going to be in the grass and rocks category mostly. No rocks in this scene, but I need something to be long, and I don't want this to be, let's say, obtuse. So, by the way, they recently added vines and creepers, so yay, I guess. It looks good. One topic I suggest modeling from image using perspective match. That's on the list, actually. So that one is on the list. So here we're going to use those three elements, and I'm just going to take the single one, another one, and another one, because I don't need the one that's basically the fatty. I just need those to be nice and in position. Can you give some basic Rhino sessions modeling organic patterns? I'll be honest with you, yes, we can, but the problem is that I'm not that versatile with Rhino. I am kind of okay with it, but I wouldn't be that comfortable and with the Rhino. But I think that if we get a hold of Christian and ask him to host another webinar, we might be able to do so. It's just that it's not the will, it's the let's say, well, basic, it's a human thing. We just need a human to host that. That's all. And now, by the way, let's see what we've got in here. So 1, 2, and 3. By the way, I really must say that this, for me, the Alt and Control, a simple trick, right? But it's a super big game changer for me. It's just better and easier this way. Can you do that roofing tutorial like those we see in the set of Asia? Yeah, I think. But John, can Okay, guys, I'm going to start a topic on in our posts, and you know what? I'm going to do it right now. So if you could leave those in those to the comments to that post, which I'm literally creating right now, I would highly appreciate that, because at the moment I'm thinking about it and I'm going to forget about it in a couple of minutes if we don't really treat this seriously. And I want to be serious about it. I want to create those videos on the topics that you are interested. Okay, so now we've got it, and post. Got it. Please make sure to, if I can ask you for that, to look for that topic, and maybe you could give me some extra options, because we see in Southeast Asia roofing. So I am a little bit afraid, because okay, Southeast Asia. So you mean that, or yeah, doable. All of that, very doable. Yeah, we can go for it. Okay, so first we've got additional scatters in the grass or bush garden. So here I'm going to make sure that we also have the right distribution areas. The first distribution area is going to be for this those three elements. So we're just going to go ahead and go for the instanced objects 1, 2, 3. And some sort of bush. So I'm going to connect those. And this is very important for me, because now I'm also going to be changing the color of those to ensure that it's easier for me to remember which one is which. And whoa, that looks bad, right? So we go ahead and select the areas that we're interested in. Hi, watching from Iraq. Hey, long time to see. I challenge you to try and struggle in Blender plus V-Ray. Oh my god. That sounds awesome. Yes, that you immediately named it. It would be a struggle. Okay. That's a cool idea, really. So now let's go to areas and let's select another one. Okay, guys. I need to ask the members, guys, members. Are you okay with us spending a little bit more time here with the general audience, like half an hour, and because I want to finish up all of the scatters, and then we're going to do the materials and nitty-gritty background for the members, but we're just going to focus on this in here, because again, it went a little bit slower than I expected, because I am just like that. I talk too much. I need to stop. 100. So I need like 3 members of our channel to make sure that it's okay. Now you can see that here everything is a little bit one thing on another. Perfect. Okay, no problem. But now, thanks to the magic of the new update, we're going to go ahead and go for clusters. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, again, a round of applause for everybody in the members section. I'm really glad to have such an amazing audience. So, clusters generate XY, not UV in this case, and I'm just going to go ahead and resize this to 300. But instead of resizing it, I can also paint with instances, and that's going to be fun, because base is going to be the regular, but I want to make sure that I have a layer on top of it. So base is going to just need the 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's my base. Now, this is just going to be a lot of the yellowy. Now I'm going to go for the layer 1, and those are going to be the bushes, right? So I want those bushes to be closer in here, and I want them to be like in around the tree mostly. So I'm going to make sure to get the European U and Yev, and now we're going to go ahead and add this into the brush layer 1. That's amazing, really. Now we go ahead and change the radius of my brush and we start painting. So we just paint and we paint and we paint. So here we pretty much just painted away some of the details, yes, but at the same time, we basically made sure that everything is in position. Plus, I can kind of erase everything else because I could leave my base empty and paint with everything. So if I basically would put, let's say, make sure that everything in here is empty, I would only be able to, oh, no? Okay, I take this back. I had a very bad idea then. Okay, so let's continue. Touch Studio Duet. Nice. What kind of duet you do? Okay, so we now, in this version, we're going to go for the project. Sorry, we need the scatter to be selected first. And we're, sure, thank you guys. You, such a nice guy, such nice people. Okay, so near, far, and we're just going to go ahead and change those settings. Now, we want to make sure that, first of all, our scatter is going to be mostly based in this area. I honestly don't understand why it didn't get the memo that it's supposed to be all over the place, but okay, I guess. Yes, it's the camera clipping. That's just me being an, well, me. Forget that. Now, let's continue because we need to continue with the areas. So just to make sure that the areas work nice, we're going to change two things. First of all, line, and we're going to go for far and near options. So if we change this far and near option, we want to make sure that the scaling is set the right way. So we're just going to be setting this up. So far away and near. Wait a second, where's the scaling? Okay, now it's working. So now we can see that the scaling is working as follows. We will be getting more outside, so there's a little bit of those smaller elements, and the near part is also going to be important for us because it's going to help us change the scaling. So I need to make sure that we go for 0, and basically we want to go for far value so it grows outside of our area, so it goes, let's say, overlaps, or let's say it gets away from it. Also, we're going to be changing the density to be much lower outside so we don't get too much of that. And we now have a nice pour out of our scatter, so it's just basically going to be free money for us. Love it. It's looking good. So I think it's time to see the fruits of this setup. So it's basically going to help us in a second, but I also need to make sure that it's 45 centimeters, not that. And here we go. So the scatter skies. Okay, in the clusters, we've got everything. So now we need to check how it works and how it looks like. So everything is on, and we just need to render it real quick. So combination of orthographic camera and screens, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Thank you. So now we've got our perfect carpet for the scatter. We've got everything else set up also correctly. So here we go. Okay, now it struggles, but okay, we're back to square one. Simple exposure set to 3, and now we should have it done. So since we've got this 2 lines, and for me, it's just having those elements for free. It's like beautiful element that we set up. It's for free. We've got really nice transition from one scatter to another. They're overlapping slightly, but not too much. Now this looks fantastic. But on top of it, I'm also going to make sure that nothing is growing literally on the tree itself. So for just a moment, I'm going to make sure that the tree is going to be a full mesh, and we want to create a circle that's going to be big enough to just cover the bark. So we cannot see anything here. Okay, so here we go. And we go for the right view, and we basically have it. Now this should do it because it's going to be closer to the ground. Now this is going to be my exclusion zone for that one scatter, because this is the no-no zone, and we just need to make sure that this is nice, and this should do it. It should exclude all of the scatters from this area, so we're basically going to have a freebie here. So okay, this might also destroy my clusters because reasons, but it didn't. And we now have a little bit better looking tree, because now almost nothing is growing on it, and it's actually going to be better if we make it even bigger. So now the tree is going to be a bit safer, and it's not going to have as much grass growing from the branches or on the bark, which would be kind of ridiculous. So in this case, we just have full control over those details. So we're basically going to go over that. Nice. It actually looks like a tree. Nice. Okay, it's a little bit too high. I'm going to pull it slightly downward. 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, perfect. Just so it's not Mike, do you use forest pack now, or chaos scatter is enough? It's more than enough. I honestly have a couple of presets on my own that I've built over the years. It's nothing really fancy. I've shown most of them either in my classes or here on YouTube, but it's like 10 presets, 3 presets for grass. There's a couple of extra presets for trees and for ivy and hedges. That's all. Yeah, I've shown you the hedges, I've shown you the ivy. Trees are basically super simple, so I thought that it's not going to be necessary to even talk about it. But yeah, we did that. We did a lot of that, and you can do too. Now, let's go ahead and create another element, because now since we have this, we need that, we need this, and we need another back line of different plant with bigger leaves. So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and create another line, which is essentially going to be this, and it's going to go all the way through that. I could, at the same time, not create such elaborate scheme, because in this case we can also go for a simpler approach of another type of scatter, which is going to be 1D spline. And in this case, we just select our scatter, we go for conform. We conform our scatter to a separate to the mesh. The point here is that it's not going to conform unless it has enough points. So before that, we also normalize our spline. We make sure that we show the knots, and now we just make sure that there's enough knots to not knot. And you can see that it's perfectly aligned to the ground, so there's basically no space for me to make any mistakes. So here we just set up our scatter the way we want, and we're just going to go ahead and add this part as our scattered object. Here we go for the scattering. On surfaces, no. On 1D splines. And here we go for the bush 1, bush 2, and bush 3, no. You're not invited. And wow, size matters. But guys, this is a little bit too much, so let's go for 100 and lower the size a bit, so there's more scattering randomization. And now we're going to go ahead and add additional elements, which would be, in my case, just a simple but also very important spline scattering spacing. So we space them out, so there's enough. Okay, a little bit of jitter, so there's some randomization of that. And now we want to make sure that we lower the spacing a little bit, so we can also add the translation. In my case, Y translation is going to be perfect, because I'm going to just have a nice line that basically overlaps all over my terrain. So basically, job done. And now we've got that additional line, which kind of looks nice, but it's also on a spline that looks weird, or it's placed weirdly. So to get rid of that auto behavior, we're going to go to normal, and we're just going to make those wiggle a little bit. Something like 0.8 is going to be really good, because it helps. And now translation from 2, okay. Now again, quick test. And now we're going to be creating the back 3 line, which is essentially going to be what we did with the bush, but more. Now we've got the additionals. looks perfect. We've got a really good backup there. So that's working magnificently good. And now I kind of want to test another theory of mine. So what will happen if I do this? Oh, it's actually cool. Nice. So we lower this, and we kind of don't want it to be inside of the house because we already did that, but well, I need to be more cautious. So let's go. Nice. And let's continue moving the elements. More like here. So we just have a blob of grass that travels with us. Okay, perfect. That should do it. This should be literally perfect. Yeah, it should be also visible. It is. Now, Mike, you have a very good quality of answering many questions. You can even for freebies. Some of your competitor is so bad they don't proper answer. So God bless you. Thank you. I'm absolutely flabbergasted by that, and I appreciate it because it is only possible for me to, let's say, answer those questions properly if the audience is asking the correct questions. So thank you. How many polygons is considered to be high poly model and a low poly? So generally, there's high poly count means that you're basically, you know what? It's best to just answer it this way. If you're looking at a model and you see nothing on it, just the wireframe is basically creating one cluster, that's very high poly. If you can see the individual triangles and elements very clearly and you can kind of trace it, that's low poly. That's basically the distinction. There's no ideal number which is going to set the tone for a high and low poly, but what would be a good way of understanding the differences is just simply going through the visual approval of high and low. I know it's not ideal because some companies, some rendering engines, some video engines will require, let's say, 254 polygons and not one more. That's for very low poly systems. But in reality, to just generally give you an idea, anything below 500,000 polygons is still going to be moderately okay. Anything below 20 to 50,000 is low poly, and everything above a million is high poly. So that's basically how I would say call it. But at the same time, if a very complex castle is going to be 3 million polygons, it's not exactly going to be considered a very high poly because it's a castle, it's a big freaking thing. But in my case, you can see that without any optimization in the scene, all of those points, all of those elements in the scene are making up to be pretty much 1.5 million, and those are just the boxes and elements. So that's it. Now let's continue. Charleston Pro, hello from Turkey. Hello to you too. I've been to Bodrum, so that's a nice place. You've got a really nice club there. So kudos to you for that. Now let's go ahead and continue the last scatter, and then we're going to skedaddle to our to the second portion of our today's webinar, which is essentially going to be the members section. So guys, again, if you want to become a member, please make sure to sign up right now. Also, since I got you all and you are all now hypnotized, like and subscribe because liking and subscribing helps us a lot. I know it's a mantra that everybody says, but it really makes a difference, like really makes a difference for our channel. Now, here I'm not going to be playing around with plenty of elements or plenty of colors for those scatters because this kind of smells of redundancy. So instead of that, I'm just going to be setting those to be fully black. So no need for any color in here, and it's going to be easy peasy like that. Now we need another garden, which is going to be garden number 3, and that is also going to be for the trees. So we've got it. Now we still use that grid, and now instead of grass, I'm going to be using 3. Why am I not just scattering those trees that I've already loaded into the scene? The simple answer is, I don't know, but the more complex one is due to the fact that I've already edited the leaves material, and I don't want those trees at the back to be less denser. After all, those are supposed to be creating some kind of background or backup for my scene. So this is going to be very important indeed. So now let's go to models. I'm just going to grab another couple of trees. So in this case, vegetation trees, and we go all the way to the back of my bus, and here we go. Download it, please. And again, let's go to the back. I think we're going to grab you. No, I want you. Adler. Okay, more Adler, please. I'm so late. But to be honest, well, lucky for you, we will be posting this on our channel after our webinar. Today's webinar is conducted, so you won't be necessarily missing out on a lot because you will be able to rewatch it. And since you're here, instead of crying, just make sure to ask a question and tell us a little bit about yourself. So full mesh, and now we're going to grab the elements. Okay, so for this scatter to work, we need to calculate one thing, because remember when I said we want that reflection on the left? That's exactly what I still want. But if I do that, I am not necessarily going to see it directly. So how do we get that scatter reflection instantly in here and understand where do I place my objects even? So I'm going to show you a trick, but don't tell anybody. This is just between me and you. Now let's go for the teapot autogrid. No, autogrid is not needed, but teapot is. So let's go ahead. I've got this teapot. It's a little bit big, I know, but we go to align and place highlight. We place the highlight in such a way that will tell us where the objects that we want reflected in the specific spot should be placed or positioned. Or we're just going to position the object to be reflected exactly in this spot, because that's basically where I clicked. So this is teapot, this is it. So now, since I know where the reflection angle is, all I need to do is fly away my teapot and use the local movement, local, and I'm just going to fly away with it to the moon. And you can now see that any tree that's going to be in here is going to be reflected in there. So that's cool. I know that I'm nerding out about it, but that's really simplified option for you guys to just grab an object. Okay, I want something to be reflected here. That's weird. Okay, that's not happening. Oh, that's in front now. It cannot be right. Okay, so it lied. Probably it just didn't register some kind of polygon in here, but I got it. So it was so wrong that it's really embarrassing for me now. Come on. Do better. Are you serious? Is the... Okay, that's fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one more thing, because it kind of tries to test me, and I'm not going to allow it to. Okay, so we got the surface. Now, since the surface is here, I'm just going to go ahead, not go locally, and here we go. Now it's working. Okay, so now it's behind the camera and it's exactly in the position. So if I want something to be reflected on that surface, it is going to be if I go for this spot, which in my case is basically behind the camera. So it's very important for you if you're going to be setting up your backgrounds or you're going to be basing your reflection on your backgrounds. So yeah, that's a good thing. Wait, what? Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly what you can do. But don't tell anybody. This is just between me and you, okay? Now, let's go ahead and add this and add that. Perfect. So, kind of want to test. I don't want to test. I know how it's going to work, but I want to put those behind as well because I can now. And now we're going to go here. Wouldn't you get the same result if you would just turn off the object, not to render from camera view? Wouldn't you get the same result if you would just turn off the object, not to render from camera view? Nicola, you basically are right, but we're calculating the angle at which the object is going to be reflected, not the reflection. So in this case, if I'm looking at that, the angle at which the light is bouncing onto the object is going to be the same as, let's say, the same angle is going to apply because both the the angle of, let's say, yeah, the angle in is the same as angle out. I'm just too stupid to explain this in the proper English. So sorry for that. Okay, let's continue because I am embarrassing myself a little bit. So we got that, and let's go ahead and check out what we can do with one more. Instanced. Now, just because we can, I'm going to be using the clusters because it's fun, and honestly, I love clusters. It's just instantly better. Everything gets better with clusters, especially if you don't want to spend too much time on scatters. Like really, it's just better. Bounding scattering box, no. We're going to go for clusters. Where's the cluster? Yeah, here they are. So now the clusters are too big. We lower the clusters up until we're going to have a satisfying size. So in this case, 700 is going to be enough because we're still going to have some differences. Obviously, we want those threes to make more sense. So per square, for 5 meters, we're going to be adding like 3 of them maximum, or 2. That's enough for the most part. Now, we want those clusters to have a little bit of roughness and the edge blend. So it's going to be easier for us, or just diversity. So we're going to have different patches and different clusters of tree. Again, clusters are amazing, so love them. Length, let's make this lengthier so it's easier for us to see. Okay, now since I've made those trees very dense, I'm also going to be adding a little bit of randomization in the transformations, and that's going to be mostly based on our scale. Scale up, scale down. Okay, so basically the size looks good, but now we need the last creme de la creme tree, which is going to be us just picking something. This is a really cool tool. I had no idea about it. Thank you for watching. Glad to be of assistance. Now, models, vegetation, trees, and let's find something that's going to be big enough, but also empty. This is not the type of tree I'm looking for, but it should do the trick in most of the cases. Not so many, I would say. So let's see if anything. Okay, let's take this one. I'm just going to have to change a lot of its colors if we do stick with it. Okay. Now the idea is very simple. We place it on the ground. We make it the biggest, chunkiest tree, so the rest is going to pale in comparison. And now we should have a really cool background or backdrop tree. So now with all the scatters, obviously the camera was wrong, so the big reveal is failed. Now we've got it. So now the thing is that we need to make sure that whatever we have on the horizon is not going to be visible. And there's a trick to that. And a very, very, very easy trick, very nice trick. I want you to test it out on your own. But again, between me and you, we're going to just go bunkers on this. So we go for -500 or more. just so we stretch out the tree line of our elements, and that's basically it. So I'm going to also increase the density. I haven't added any avoid collisions, so that's perfect. So we're just going to increase the amount of trees total we're giving this scene, and maybe move you slightly to the right, so you're going to be bigger, better, and stronger. And now we should be seeing exactly what we wanted. Hello, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Aaron. I am. You probably are here for the news about me. So I'm going to be a father quite soon, in just a couple of months, really. Congratulations to me. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. It's a new chapter in my life, so it's going to be something awesome. So nice. We've got pretty much the whole shtick now, and this is where we're going to be ending our part 1 of our webinar, because part 2 is going to be just us playing around with the materials a little bit. Then we're going to analyze the lighting, and we're going to do the background. So essentially, you guys have most of the cool tricks that I normally use for this type of scenes. And you basically see that even with the freebies and free assets, it is not impossible to set up everything that looks good. So congratulations, something 47. Thank you very much. Thank you, Asim. Now let's see what else we want to talk about, and that is obviously VizAcademy. So guys, if you want to become our student, go to VizAcademy Co. UK. If you want to learn all about 3ds Max, 3D modeling, Corona renderer, and soon we're also going to be adding V-Ray panels to our rendering section of our training. On top of that, we're also touching upon animation in 3ds Max because it's getting more and more important. Also, I've created a very small panel on AI and usage of it in our day-to-day work in the offices. This is not some kind of trick that your grandma is going to be surprised by. No, it's what the offices currently work with, and this is the type of AI usage that you will be able to incorporate into your workflow. Other than that, we also offer amazing online support 7 days a week. We have 3 webinars per week, and you gain a lot of additional resources. Plus, if it's any value to you, access to me. So guys, make sure to go to VizAcademy Co. UK, click on apply, give us your email, and then finish the sign up, because that's exactly what I want you to do right now. Yeah, I want you to be my student. It would be awesome. Now, this is part 1. And we're going to be continuing part 2 in a couple of minutes. We kind of did a good job, eh? Now, guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much. VizAcademy Co. UK is our website, and we're going to see part of you in just a couple of minutes. So once again, thank you, and see you in just a couple of minutes. So see you soon.